Cleveland Browns fans, bring you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Yes, the wild and crazy Browns fans are back on this Thursday night. The Fanatical Elfz. I'm John, there's Steve, and there's Sam. Welcome, guys. How are you this wonderful Thursday night? Sam, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing pretty decently. It's I think it's like 109 outside, like heat index right now. It's going to be 106 just normally Monday, so that'll be fun. It's been hot, but it's been just annoyed with all the injuries that have kind of been happening, and obviously the Michael Hall situation. There's been a lot of injuries that have happened this preseason / training camp. It's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, we're going to get into all of that. Boy, it's been a fun week if you're a Browns fan. Steve Gill, how are you?
Doing well. I'm in the wilds of Western North Carolina. I don't really care what the weather's like in Nashville. Just want it to rain. I know it's hot down there. It's not that hot here.
Yes.
So it's nice. It's pleasant.
Yes. You're traveling. Steve's traveling all over the country. He's our Dog Pound South podcaster.
Roving correspondent.
That's right. And Sam is our Browns breakdown. Sam will have a show on later tonight that we're going to post on his audio Browns breakdowns. Johnny Cleveland here has been a little bit slow to get the shows out today, so I want to apologize to Rod Bloom and his Browns Blitz. That just hit the air. If you're a Browns Blitz fan, when Rod Bloom, please listen to his show. Great content there that just came out. Jarrell Flint, who's not here, who's one of our content providers, he's got a show on the dog radio programming. He hasn't had a show out for a while. His will be hitting later tonight too. Lou Marconi with the Burning River Browns Talk. He's got his show coming up tomorrow night, Friday night, with his co-host, the Sherry. Sherry and Browns Fangirl. You can catch her on the X. So we're excited here on our network here on the Fanatical Elfz. You know, again, thank you for following us, watching us right now live on YouTube, on the X. We just got our blue check mark thanks to the Fanatical Elfz, or thanks to Fans First, our parent company who paid the bill, and we got our blue check mark. So we're legit, man. Too legit to quit.
We are verified.
We are verified. We love it. You can see us now on the X. I believe the video is not posted right now. I'll check that in a minute. But thank you for those of you who are tuning in. Please comment if you're watching. Let us know. We can read your questions. We can talk about the Brownies. We're going to talk about the Brownies and training camp and Michael Hall and all that fun stuff here. So if you have something you want to say or contribute, I'm just going to start by this. And, I'm throwing this out here. And Steve, I know you're going to oppose me.
How do you know that?
Yeah, well, I just know. So I'm the lunatic Browns fan who, we go off little tangents here, and I know I'm not playing fair, but the whole Michael Hall stuff, and I know we need to do all this stuff, and I need to be steady Eddie, and I need to be calm on this, and I know it's a police report, and I know that's all it is, and it's not proven. People are innocent until proven guilty. But darn it, man, I'm telling you right now, that crap that happened, and I know he's young. I think he's 21 years old and all this stuff and, all of it. And he probably needs some help. But, man, I'm telling you, I know the media asked questions the day after he had this situation. He was at practice, at training camp. People were asking, Coach, why? Obviously the Browns are not saying a lot. And they're respecting the process. Like, I think that's how they described it and going with what happens. But man, it's just when that news broke and what happened and reading the report from the police and all that stuff. And I don't know all the latest today. I haven't seen what's out there as much, but I was surprised that Cleveland held on to this guy. They've cut other players in the past. So it's telling me that maybe there's some things out there that need to be figured out. And Steve, you probably want to elaborate that, or Sam, but everything I read just made me cringe. And maybe I'm not being fair as a fan, but it's surprising that the kids, here's the thing. Maybe he's on the team, but why, there didn't seem like there was any sort of punishment behind the scenes, but I don't know. So go ahead, Steve. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, look, first of all, there are things in the CBA that we don't know about. He hasn't been convicted. He was arrested. That is true. And as Kevin Stefanski said, we're going to let the legal process play out. That's your standard line of any NFL team when a player gets in trouble.
Yeah.
That took a while for him to cut Perion Winfrey, the last guy that got in trouble, but he was like a 6th-round draft pick. I mean, we're talking about the 2nd-round draft pick.
Yes.
So you don't want to make a jump to judgment right away.
Yeah.
And everybody mentions the punter kicker, who was signed by Buffalo, who drafted by Buffalo. He got accused of rape, sexual assault.
Yeah.
Then they got right before they went to court, and the girl said, "I made it all up." So, like I said, let the legal process play out. There may be something in the CBA that the team cannot prevent him from practicing right now. Preseason is totally different than regular season.
Mm-hmm.
I fully expect the team to suspend him at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
That's their prerogative, and they can do that when the season starts. So I expect that to happen, but I'm going to let the legal process play out. But, if you're going to hold a gun to a person's head, I hate to tell you this, that's a no-brainer. Bye-bye, Michael. I don't care how talented you are.
Okay. So you agree?
If that's what actually happened, and we don't know yet, but if that really did happen, then they're going to have to cut him.
I guess the part of the thing that, in the police report, I think it talked about the damage that was visible to the police at the home.
Yes.
As far as he
trashed it and he threw stuff out in the yard. And
so
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just wait till everything plays out before I make a judgment. But if everything that happened is true, then they got to cut it.
Yeah.
They have to.
Okay, Sam, I know you kind of talked a little bit off air about this too in our texting a couple days ago. Where are you at today?
Well, automatically, if everything is true, he's cut. Yeah, right. But automatically, if there's a gun involved, that automatically makes the crime like doubled, basically. That's just what happens. If there's a lethal weapon involved, doesn't matter if it's a gun, a knife, anything that like that, it automatically just boosts the crime. So he'll probably get in some trouble for having the gun and threatening with the gun if everything is true.
2 guns.
Yes,
okay.
2.
Yeah, so he'll automatically get in trouble for that. That's just how that works. But if everything he says is true, he's definitely getting cut immediately and probably will never play another NFL football game.
See, and this is why it comes back to, and I guess it's just, I know we need to let the process, but I don't know. I'm just bothered by the fact that these teams, and maybe it's just because of like what you guys are talking about, the rules, they're letting him practice and stuff. Now, I heard that he did something today at practice, or he hurt himself or something, like he strained something. Or
yesterday.
Yesterday?
Okay. Yeah, he went back inside.
Yeah.
Early.
Yeah.
Like I said, there may be something in the CBA that the Browns can't do anything about it during preseason.
So coming in, and maybe Sam, you did some research, and I know Steve, you did too with the draft. I want to go back a little bit because Michael Hall did not get drafted in the first round, and we drafted him the 2nd round, right? He was our first pick. Yeah.
Yep.
So at the time, it kind of built up into this, and we picked him, and there was a lot of euphoria. A lot of people were happy. Local kid, Ohio State Buckeye. But there were things, right? on his resume coming into the draft that suggested what I've read from some teams, that some teams said, no way in hell are we going to draft this guy because he's a troublemaker.
There were a couple teams that had questions.
Yeah.
So, you can't really say that was a red flag. Were there any red flags for Perion Winfrey? No, there weren't.
Yeah, other than when you talk to people who I remember doing a podcast with a couple guys that were down in Oklahoma, and I remember them talking about him being kind of a hothead and different things.
Really? Nobody went to his birthday party?
No, and well, then they also had Isaiah Thomas down there. Remember, they were roommates or teammates down there, right? Yeah, okay.
And Michael Woods.
Yes,
those guys turned out pretty good.
Yeah, well, Michael Woods. I want to talk about Michael Woods here in a minute, but yeah,
you just don't know. I mean, the draft is a crapshoot. It's not Madden. It's not fantasy football.
Yeah,
it's a crapshoot, people. And if you're so good at picking players, you'd be a GM in the NFL. If you're not a GM in the NFL and you're sitting at your kitchen table complaining about this, stop.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into this week. So they had 2 yesterday and today. They practiced against the Vikings, correct?
Correct.
And then they're not practicing tomorrow or with each other. And then they have a game on Saturday where we've heard that Deshaun Watson is not going to play.
Nope.
It sounded funny. I didn't hear the whole presser today, but Deshaun Watson sounded surprised, even though Kevin Stefanski mentioned it earlier in the week that Deshaun wasn't going to play. So I when I hear that, I wonder, and I didn't see the press conference with Deshaun, but I'm going, did he miss the memo? Does Deshaun not like?
Well, last year he said the same thing. Last year before after the scrimmage with the Eagles, before that the game, he was surprised that he wasn't starting.
Does that surprise you?
This is what Kevin Stefanski does. If you scrimmage, the starters don't start. The scrimmage is more important. Because it's untelevised and they don't want anything to get out to opponents.
Okay, but if he's telling the media earlier in the week that Deshaun's not playing, Deshaun doesn't know that. I'm confused.
Deshaun knows that. He wants
to play. Is he just playing games again?
He's just playing games again. Come on. As I recall last year, the last preseason game in Kansas City, he looked pretty damn good in the first quarter.
Yes.
In the games he played.
Yes.
I mean, he led him on a couple scoring drives. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, you're
going to get a healthy dose of Tyler Huntley now that J.J. McCartney's hurt. They might trade him after the game.
Well, okay, so what we heard tonight is that Jameis Winston is not playing either, right? That they're
really. I did not hear that.
I heard this evening. They said it would be DTR starting.
Nice.
He's going to start the game against the Vikings. Probably play the first half, and Tyler Huntley will play the second half. And there will be no Jameis Winston, and there will be no Deshaun Watson. My guess is that next week we'll see Deshaun, and then we'll see Jameis Winston, and then at that point we'll see where Tyler Huntley is. He might be with the Minnesota Vikings, and they're probably having conversations this week in Berea since the Vikings are in town.
Do the Vikings have a good backup left tackle? Because I do.
Do they?
Player for
oh my God!
swap
yeah.
Right now.
I mean, it's interesting now. You're not the only. Tony Grossi, Tony Rizzo, they're all talking about the left tackle position. It's a very big concern. And again, Jedrick Wills is not looking. I mean, he's not out there, right? He's still injured.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
I mean, he came back from the bye week last year, and Bill Callahan read him the riot act, and he played well. Then he got hurt. And then they put him on injured reserve, designated to return.
Yeah.
And then in December, he has the surgery. And then we hear prior coming into this season that he's ahead of schedule.
Right.
And where the hell has he been? I'm serious. Where's Jedrick?
Right. I know. Maybe he went down to Tampa Bay. Maybe he's doing commercials with Baker Mayfield.
Could be.
You know, Sam, where do you think Jedrick Wills is? Is he with you down in Texas?
I don't think so.
I just don't know. I mean, I'm very concerned. I think Browns fans around the globe, as this gets closer to week 1, are concerned. I think the offensive line is a big question mark. You don't have the bigger concern is you got guys that we don't even know who they are, and then you're going to start getting more injuries, and we're going to be going through 5 or 6 stringers, and that's not good for Deshaun Watson and keeping him upright. And we know the history of Deshaun Watson and getting injuries, and you know he's been in 12 games since he's been a Brown, right? Is that correct? Am I?
Yeah, he's 8-4.
8-4 in 2 years, and you know, granted, it's the first majority of the first season was a suspension, but that's not good. So these practices with the Vikings, all the reports that I was getting from all the Mary Kay and Fred Grantham or whatever, and Tony Grantham, rough, tough. I mean, a lot of, but there were a lot of mistakes they reported yesterday with the Browns. Obviously, they got a lot of new players in there, a lot of jumping off sides or motion plays that they were flagged on.
Yeah. So
those are some legitimate concerns. We talk about the line that's playing right into that problem. They need to get it corrected. And considering they only scored 10 points, I mean, I'd like to see more points in this next, these next games. What did you see? What are your highlights, guys, from this week here with the camp? Steve, what are you were kind of watching things. You were talking about Martin Emerson, for example.
Oh, he had a great day today. So did Myles Garrett. He's been doing great. Nobody can block Myles. Go figure. Za'Darius Smith was back on the practice field. That's good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's excellent. So Miles Harden had a interception, which I like Miles Harden. He's going to push somebody.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are complaining about Denzel Ward and a concussion, but he's in protocol. He didn't have a concussion.
Did you see he reacted?
He's only in protocol, and he was wearing a Guardian hat. Maybe the Guardian hat is the reason he didn't have a concussion. Now, he was back on the practice field that afternoon. If he had a concussion, he wouldn't have been back out in the daylight. You just can't go back out in the daylight.
Did you see his reaction?
I'm not worried about him.
On the X, somebody posted some funny from the movie Radio with Cuba Gooding Jr. Have you seen? There was somebody reacted to Denzel Ward's multiple concussions. I think I talked about this. I texted you guys again about this because it's a big concern, and I know we shouldn't be. Maybe I'm overreacting again, but this guy.
On this one, I think you are.
He's got a history though of concussion.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't have a concussion. He's only in protocol because it's preseason. It's precautionary. He wasn't going to play on Saturday.
So he doesn't have a concussion?
He's not going to. He wouldn't have been back outside that day if he had a concussion.
But if he's going
you can't go out in the sunlight after when you have a concussion. You can't.
But he's going through the protocol. But
they're just being cautious.
Okay.
Because he's had a lot of concussions. You're not going to see him this weekend. You're not going to see him next weekend. He didn't play all in preseason last year.
Okay.
He'll be ready day one. I'm not
worried. Well, that's what I'm thinking. But that's what I'm thinking, but worried about. Week one, is this guy going to be out there for us? And you're saying yes. I
think he will.
Okay. Sam, do you like Denzel Ward? What do you think of Denzel Ward?
Calm down, John. Calm down.
What's your take on Denzel? Because, even when he was here in Columbus and he played at Ohio State, and then they came to Cleveland, this has been an ongoing conversation because the kid was injured when he was here at Ohio State quite a bit.
Yeah, the more concussions you get, the more likely you are to get one. Like your first concussion is going to be harder to get than your fourth concussion. And they're just, you got to put them, especially in the NFL, especially for an important player, especially in the NFL because of how many times you get hit. You got to run them through protocol, especially if they have a history of concussions, just to check, make sure. Because, and I doubt he has a concussion. I bet he's just a little shooken up a little, and that is basically it. But you got to run him through protocol, especially for an important player, and especially because NFL, you just get hit so often. You got to run them through protocol, make sure there is absolutely nothing wrong with them. And if there is anything a little bit wrong with them, that it'll be fixed in a week or two.
Before we go to break, Steve, I wanted to ask you if you're disappointed. I know John Kelly, the best preseason running back the Browns have ever had.
Oh, he's the king of preseason.
Got cut and then signed by the Baltimore Ratbirds this week.
He'll probably make the practice squad in Baltimore, and
I imagine we'll see him in the regular season.
If the Browns need him, they'll sign him off the practice squad.
Okay.
I think he'll be back.
We're going to pause.
Who doesn't like John Kelly?
Oh, I love it. It's just funny that, Baltimore picked him up the next day.
I wonder why.
Hey, this is the Fanatical Elfz Show. We're going to announce the winner of those Browns tickets to Saturday's game at 4:30 down at the stadium. After this break, we'll be right back. We are back here on the Fanatical Elfz. Thanks again. We actually have real commercials. Hopefully you enjoyed those commercials.
Lovely.
We are growing. We've grown so much this first year. I say it all the time. And those of you who are watching or listening, we truly appreciate your loyalty, your support. And for God's sakes, man, we give away a lot of free stuff here. So spread the love, man. If you're a Browns fan and you want some free Browns gear or tickets, I mean, we're the podcasting crew to give that stuff away. You don't see all podcasters doing this. So come on over to the Fanatical Elfz, type in Cleveland Browns podcast on Apple, Spotify, and boom, the Fanatical Elfz will pop up, and you can listen to Sam, Browns Breakdowns. You can listen to Steve and his dog. You say it for me.
Dog Pound South podcast.
Welcome, campers.
Welcome, Dog Pound South campers.
You can hear me mumble my words to the Johnny Cleveland podcast. You can listen to Lou Marconi, the Burning River Browns talk, Rod Bloom, the Browns Blitz, Jarrell, and his dog radio show. Am I missing one? Oh my God, yes. Noah Olson. East Bank Sports Show. Yeah, Noah's killing it, knocking it out of the park. All of these guys, including these guys in front of you, if you're watching, write also for Fans First and Cleveland Sports Talk and some other periodicals. So check them out. All right. So you want to announce the winner? Are you ready?
Go for it.
All right, here we go.
I'm ready.
Drum roll.
Who gets the tickets?
Who gets the tickets? We will be in touch with you after we announce you as the winner. But the winner is it is Mark Felton. Mark, congratulations. It's at mfelton25. He's a teacher and a loving husband and father of 3 awesome kids. Defend the land, Cleveland. He loves the Cavs, the Indians, the Bucks, and the Browns. Congratulations, right. Mark. We'll be in touch to give you out those tickets. So I know we had a contestant last week who got the tickets, Sarah, who texted back to us and said that she had a great time, went to the game with her mother, loved the location of the seats. They're up in the upper deck, but they're not your traditional seats. They're in that above the Meyer sign. If some of you watch the games in the end zone in the upper deck, but there's only 3 rows there, and we love it. We love going to the games there. It's a great little spot. All right. Final, things that you're looking for. Let's just briefly talk a little bit about the game. Again, we're not going to find starters.
No.
Stefanski's talked about that. So what are some things that you're going to be focused on? Obviously, Michael Hall, we talked about going back and watching that, but that might might not be worth watching very much. What are some things you're going to watch, Steve? And then Sam, I'll get what you'd like to watch.
I'm gonna watch the left tackles, whoever it is. I hope Hakeem Adeniji starts instead of James Hudson. Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator of the Vikings, really brought the heat during these scrimmages. I believe Wednesday, I had heard that Watson was hurried quite a bit. And if it was a real game, he would have been sacked multiple times. So I'm going to watch the left tackle. And on defense, of course, I'm going to watch Mahmoud Diabate. Of course, I'm going to watch the Devin Bush and Miles Harden. And I'm going to pay a lot of attention to the safety Brady Breeze. Against the Packers, he was everywhere.
Okay.
And I like that signing when he did it. He played in Tennessee, so both Vrabel and Schwartz know him. He may play himself onto this team. So he really jumped off the screen. And it just wasn't because he's a safety and he was the last line of defense. I mean, he had the only sack in the second half. So I'm going to be watching him.
Sam.
Yeah, I think I'm not watching a whole lot, honestly. It's just kind of been I'm watching the tackles. I'm watching the offensive line, definitely. But there's, especially without, it sucks because a lot of our starters are the people we're watching. Man,
Yes.
So Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, not Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. All these people who are the people we want to watch are all starters who aren't going to play that much, which I know is the point of preseason, is to not play the starters and to play everyone behind them. But it's just, I'm still going to watch and just see what happens. But I definitely think we need to score a little more. That game wasn't great. I think our quarterbacks were not very good. They were okay. They didn't throw any picks or anything, but they also didn't have a whole lot of. I just think we're just going to just watch offensive line. I think is the most important place to watch right now.
The two real quick, the two things on offense, I want to see a little consistency. That was a pretty much a dud, and I know preseasons aren't for entertainment purposes, but that was an unexciting dud. And on defense, something that really hurt us last year, and especially with the smaller running backs who ran all over us, containment. There was no containment in the Packer game, and you saw it when they were just running all over us. So I want to see a little tweak. I don't want you to show everything. Just give me a little something, okay?
So, to elaborate on what you guys are both talking about, because let me just give you an example, and I don't know all the details in this, but the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm just shifting gears here for a second. From what I read today, they're playing most of their starters in this next game.
They do every year.
Okay. So this is I guess where my question is, I guess it's just a difference of opinion between coaches and how coaches approach these preseason games, and that's probably what you're going to tell me. But I'm looking at Kansas City and I see championships, and then I see the Browns who are getting there. But again, like Sam just said and talked about, we're not seeing some of these players that we all want to see who are the starters. And then you talk, Steve, about this containment and how we're not seeing some of these things. And I'm wondering to myself, why the hell aren't we following the line of what Andy Reid's doing with the Chiefs? And why? And is it just because it's Stefanski's way, and that's fine. But I kind of want to see these starters, and I want to see some of these players play. And I know it's preseason. I know we want to protect these guys. For God's sakes, man, for me, it's like you're putting a lot on the line. And thankfully, he's going to play Deshaun in games, I guess, 3. I would rather, if I were coach, I would do what Andy Reid's doing. Like, okay, maybe you don't play all your starters in that first game last week. Fine. Okay. I would have played some more starters. Week 2 to this upcoming game, and I know they're playing the Vikings. Let's say they didn't practice against the Vikings and they just had the game against the Vikings without. I would be playing a majority of my starters because I want to get them in there, get a lot of reps, and then week 3, I know you got 2 weeks before or 3 weeks then before the regular season. I want to protect my players. So if somebody does get hurt, I'd rather them get hurt in week 2 of the preseason than the week before the season starts. I don't know. I just look at what Kansas City does, and it's like, why are they doing that, Kevin? And you don't think that the Browns have to do it? I'm just wondering your guys' thoughts on that.
Well,
I'm a little
first of all, Kansas City has a guy named Patrick Mahomes. I hear he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And if he got hurt Saturday, Andrew Reid would just be ripped to shreds. Okay, a while ago when we had 4 preseason games, it always went backups,
Back in the old days.
Back in the old days, game 3 was your practice game. Your starters played
Yes.
till halftime, and
Yes.
then game 4 was nothing but the guys who are
Okay.
going to be selling insurance or working in fast food after the season's over.
All right.
And they built to that game 3, but they did away with that. So I got a feeling in the future you're going to see 2 preseason games and multiple
They already are
scrimmages.
planning on doing that. I think
so
they already are pretty much
Do
set
two
on 8
two
games.
preseason games and an 18-game season.
yeah,
And
they're
2
gonna
bye
do
weeks
that.
possibly.
yeah. I hope
That's
2 bye
fine.
weeks.
All right. I don't know. I just look at Andy Reid and I just think of the Kansas City, and this is like you said, this is how they always do it. Obviously, they haven't always done it this way forever because, like you said, we used to have 4 games and all that stuff. I don't know. I just think sometimes the Brownies overthink it again, and we're giving Stefanski all this credit. We're giving Andrew Berry all this credit.
Well,
But-
2-time coach of the year. I'll defer to him.
Did you see the little exchange earlier in the week on ESPN between Dan Orlovsky and that stupid idiot moron?
ESPN talking about something other than the Cowboys?
Pittsburgh squealer who was I think he was a squealer or a Baltimore ratbird, some moron. Lou and I were talking about it. It was Monday morning, and basically this moron on ESPN was arguing with Dan Orlovsky, who was supporting
Oh yeah,
and
I saw
defending
that.
Kevin
I saw that.
Stefanski. And I don't know what the whole conversation, but it got to talking about Stefanski and Tomlinson, and somehow this idiot
Tomlin.
from Pittsburgh or whatever, he started going on and on and on about, what are you talking about? And Dan's like, what are you talking about? And it was just like, I don't know. It's just so silly. Like Sam, you talked about it off air a lot. Like all this conversation that goes on, these idiots that are on national, they don't pay attention to the Browns. They have no clue.
No.
I give Dan Orlovsky a little bit more credit because if you listen, I respect Dan. I think I like listening to him because I think that somebody like Dan Orlovsky, he actually pays attention a little bit more than some of your typical idiots who are on some of these talk shows. That's my take.
You must have been watching ESPN too, because there's no way that ESPN wasn't talking about the Cowboys.
He's right.
I mean, Dak Prescott has probably been shipped to like MLS teams. They're shipped him to so many different people. They're like,
So when's the
breaking
trade
news.
of the Canadian Football League going to happen?
Dak Prescott might play for Chelsea next year.
Oh my gosh.
What's
before
the big
yeah.
oil mongol, in soccer, he runs the good, really, really, really good team. I can't remember who it is, but he's like super rich. But ESPN would probably think that Dak Prescott would join him.
All right, before I let you guys go, I did want to ask you this.
Manchester
because
City. It's Manchester City.
There you go.
Lou and I talked about this quite a bit on our show on the Stirring the Pot with Lou Marconi and Johnny Cleveland. The stadium, all this stuff. Steve, you've been talking about it. The Cuyahoga County came out on Sunday last week or wrote a letter that said, we can't support this dome stadium, and we really would prefer to take $1 billion and put it into the lakefront development and the stadium there. And despite the Haslams dishing out their own, $2 billion plus. Yeah. Lou and I, we both think it's just fluff. I mean, there's nothing.
Oh yeah, it's fluff.
I mean, the county can't not stop the Haslams from
First
building.
of all,
Yeah.
last time I checked, Brook Park is in Cuyahoga County.
I know
Is
the
that
whole
correct?
thing is yes.
Okay, so what's their point?
Yes. It's mind blowing, and I don't understand it. I just
Like
don't
I said
understand.
last week, if you're a Cleveland politician, county, city, don't blow this. Don't think of your own current situation. Look to the future.
A lot of us who have been
like
around
here in
yeah.
Nashville, they right now the brand new stadium that's going to be built is still going to have a junkyard sitting next to it, because back in the mid 90s they did nothing about it, and it's still there because they couldn't see into the future. And Steiner Lift is still sitting there, occupying valuable land that could be used for parking, which the city and the Titans could make money off of. But they couldn't see into the future. And that's what these remember, they were opposed to the Gateway Project, the baseball and basketball. They thought that was a boondoggle. That worked out pretty good, didn't it?
It's just,
average politician decisions. I mean,
Yep.
They only care about what is happening to them at what moment because if problems arise, they just leave. They just let the other people deal with it. They don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Samuel is exactly right.
Well, stay tuned because I'm assuming that something's gonna be announced officially. It's got to be pretty soon. By the end of this season, at least, right?
The Haslams will pour money into anything built on the lakefront as long as they get a little cha-ching back, which they will. So, and everybody will be happy, and these dumb politicians will look like morons.
Well, maybe in the fall, after the season,
they already look like morons now.
Yeah, I don't know what the latest is this week. I have, Lou's up there in Cleveland, and I don't get the local news down here in Columbus, but it is what it is. Well, folks, we're going to leave you. Congratulations to our winner tonight. Is it Mark? Mark Felton. Again, the winner of the 2 Brownies tickets to Saturday's game.
Awesome.
At 4:30 down at the stadium. So congrats. We'll be in touch, Mark. Final takes before we say sayonara to everybody tonight. Sam, any final thoughts you want to share out?
I just wanted to mention CD Lamb. My radio people are saying it'll get done by week 1. That he'll be his deal will be done. They are not sure about Dak though. They don't know if he's going to get his contract for a little while because it'll just be difficult to get them both done.
Okay.
And I've said it before. If they go 4-4, I think Micah, Dak, or CD, probably not CD if he gets a new contract, will get shipped off somewhere else if they miss the playoffs this
Bring
year.
Micah here to Cleveland, who loathes Cleveland. He's already put us down. Bring him to Cleveland. Boy, that would be funny.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny? I hear Dak is a hell of a basketball player. Maybe he can sign with the Mavericks. But anyway, number one, glad to see they extended JOK. I had heard it was going to be done before the season started. That's awesome. Number two, enjoy the game, everybody. Please, no more injuries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for tuning in to the Fanatical Elfz Network and our show tonight. We will have pre-games. Any of you interested in joining me for a pre-game show Saturday? Will you be around?
Try.
Okay.
I'll try.
Sam, you're welcome to join us. We will be on, I don't know, maybe a little bit earlier than we were the last game. I think we came on like at
2:30 our time. 3:30 your time.
3:30. Maybe we could come on a little bit earlier to give you more time to prep, Steve, to watch the actual game, right? Will you be able to watch the game or illegally? Or
I have my laptop.
That's right. That's right. All right. So tune in to us. We'll be doing pregame, postgame. Thanks again. Our postgame shows are out of bounds. You guys tune in. We love that. Thanks again. I just checked on the Facebook. We have somebody on Facebook who, some other group that reshares our video, and we want to thank them again because our plays on Facebook, last I looked, it was around 1,000 plays already. And then we've had Lou Marconi and I did one a couple weeks ago that did like 11,000 plays. So we appreciate
Wow.
that, getting our faces out there, because we all are very handsome young men. We really, really love that. We have hair on our heads. We don't have hair on our heads. I'm not saying
Really?
who. No, I'm just, Sam's wearing
Come
a wig there with those long glowing Goldilocks.
That's not true.
Sam's our cowboy. If you're watching us, Sam lives in Dallas, Texas, and he wears his cowboy hat. Steve wears his ball caps and is raring to go at an undisclosed location in North Carolina. Thank you so much. Again, have a great night, everybody. Go Browns.
Go
Go
Browns.
Browns.
See you later, alligators. Catch you later, crocodile.
After a while, crocodile.
After a while, crocodile. Maybe I can get this to work. See ya.